Hello. So today I am going to be talking about stretching because it is very, very important, and I used to do it a lot.
So I'm going to be doing quite a few voiceovers for this video just because when I originally filmed this video, I had an idea that my sound was going to be messed up. I thought maybe because I filmed my last video in the bathroom, but that just doesn't happen to be the case. So please bear with me.
Because last time it sounded like garbage.
So a lot of the times what you think your body needs isn't actually what your body needs because your body translates things differently. For example, right here I'm talking about the nerves that run from your eyes, from your retinas to the back of your head, and you can massage them by massaging underneath the bone that runs laterally behind your head. And it alleviates all of the stress in your eyes and in your eyebrows. This is a trick I learned from my teacher in vocational school when I was in high school, and it is a game changer because if you wear contacts like me, eye headaches can be very debilitating. So now I'm blabbing about how sitting affects how your back feels, which I'm sure we all know by now, but I laughed because it was difficult for me to sit on the hard floor. Basically, you're going to stretch out your spine and lengthen your spine. I'm going to take you through kind of a little bit of my yoga moves and what actually stretches out my back because I do have a bad back thanks to years of dance. So I sit in this butterfly sit, which is what I just called it right there, and I'm laughing because it's kind of awkward, but I gotta rotate my entire body with my butt and my legs still planted on the ground as flat as I can so that I can lengthen the base of my spine as much as possible and just move it around town like SpongeBob says. Right before that, I was talking about how flexible my legs were, so lucky you get to see my toes and how flat my legs actually sit on the ground, but don't bounce. Don't do this. I say right here, it is important that you don't bounce. You will tear your muscles. Don't bounce. Even though I am very flexible based on how I sleep, how I've been sitting, how many days it's been since I've stretched, how cold it is, my body won't always stretch how I want it to. So you have to listen to your body. My knees won't touch the ground sometimes, and I have to just push on it slowly and breathe into it with your entire body. And then as I come up right here, I'm doing it slowly because you don't want to pull your muscles back into place. You can also injure yourself that way. And then I talk about the importance of stretching the opposite way, which is your choice and how you feel you can redirect your muscles in the opposite direction.
These are like beginner steps because there's a lot of people that, like I said, don't bend in any way. So this is simple, but not simple. It's basic, but really not, because this is how most of us move every day. But like this for me right now, usually I can grab my feet, and this for me right now, my knees are bouncing up, and like it really, really hurts in here, and that's because I don't use those muscles all the time.
Although it didn't sound the greatest, I let myself babble for a second because I was saying some pretty important things about my use of muscles every day and why it tends to hurt like this. So I don't try to force myself into these positions. I can keep my knees bent like I'm doing here and slowly breathe and slowly sit into my stretch. Again, I like yoga, so I will sit here and focus and breathe, and then once I feel good, I will stretch a little more. And then again, you want to slowly come up. You can stay in that bent knee position the entire time. You just want to make sure that your back has a nice natural curve to it and that you slowly come up and don't just let your legs go. And then you want to stretch in the opposite direction like I do here just to lengthen out my spine. Again, stretching my legs like this does alleviate some of the pressure off my lower back. That is why it's important to remember to keep your back in a natural arc and not have it twisted, because this is the whole point of these exercises. Also, I wouldn't call them exercises as I would call them natural movements, but you can hold these positions for as long as you want. Usually I do about 10 to 20 seconds. So I guess I'm going in order of the spine. I'm starting at the base and working my way up. I'm talking right now about planting your heart or your core, as they call it in yoga, to the earth, which makes me giggle every time. But it's kind of a feeling of like placing all of your gravity through your butt to the ground, and you're going to also press away from the ground with your hands. And that's again when you want your back to really stretch off of your hands and kind of pull pressure off the middle of your back. I say right here too that your legs can be as far apart as you need them to. There's no right or wrong degree. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. And then if you want to open it up more and breathe into it, you can. It's just all up to you how intense you want everything to be. But sitting straight like this, as I'm laughing about, separates that tension in the middle of your back and also kind of separates your pelvis from your spine. So again, if you sit all crunched up like I do all day, you should do this stretch every day, but I'm making fun of myself right here because I don't do anything every day. And then my hip cracked and my back, and now I can move my pelvis away from my spine. So I'm going to lift up my knee, which is really awkward for some people, I know, but this is going to help me with that separation in my middle back. I don't really have problems with my middle back. It's more my lower back, but as of right now, I'm just stiff all over my back. So we're just kind of breathing into everything. Also, you have a good side and a bad side. You want to keep it even. Whatever you do on one side, do to your other, or you will develop a different bad side. One side is stronger than the other, and it'll seem easier to stretch into those stretches. Mine is my left. So the audio right here isn't bad. I do apologize for being out of breath right now. I kind of just ran up my stairs, but right here in this video, I sound even worse. So I'm going to voice over this part too. I'm talking about my heart being the center of gravity, like it is pulled into the earth, because right now we're doing a yoga pose called cat and cow, and it is my favorite. You're going to arch that back like a cat and bring your heart between all fours, your knees and your hands. And then I start lifting up my feet, like just the backs of my feet, to kind of pull in that stretch a little more in my thighs, like on my quads. You don't really have to do that. And then I reverse the stretch into a cow and reverse arched that back to pull all of the tension from the middle to the lower base of my spine. And then do as many of these as you'd like for how long as you'd like, and try to keep your hands and your knees as square as possible. I know my cat in the beginning wasn't very square, but once you can get in formation, you should stay in form. Then I start doing these little serpent swivels to just loosen everything back up again. It's going to feel ridiculous, but it's going to be a very big relief in your back. We're going to do another yoga pose right here called child's pose. It's just like a relaxation pose from stretching out and working out your back or whatever. You can do this literally whenever, and you just curl into this little potato like a turtle, and you just sit there, and it's great on your spine. So I sped this part up a little bit because it is very long, but I'm going to place my root of my butt into the ground and keep my spine as straight as possible, and I'm going to turn with my upper back and press to my left side. Press, press, press. Press the earth away from you and lengthen your back and push your upper back away from the ground as tall as you can. And stretch, stretch, stretch. And then I'm going to stretch my upper plank thing like this. Just again, make sure your arms and your legs are parallel and straight and not bent and not turned out or spaced out too far apart. And I'm just pushing my hips, my pelvis to the air. And then I'm going to reverse it and do these little hug sits. And sometimes when I squeeze and pull up and lengthen my back again, like I'm doing here, my back will crack, my upper back, like between my shoulder blades, and I will kind of push my shoulder blades apart as I'm squeezing like that, if that makes sense. And now I'm feeling all nice and relaxed, and my neck wants to crack too. So we're just gonna crack my neck, and yeah. By rotating my neck and spinning it around and stretching on every side, we're going to keep it flowing in line with my back, just to make sure we don't hurt worse later, and make sure you hydrate.
Bella and Kylo are cuddling. I saw one on a photo sharing website this morning, and he said to, again, press into your hip flexors, because mine still feel a little tight right here, like this.
So I'm going to put something underneath my knees because this floor hurts my knees. And before this, I said that if you could do back bends to stretch out your back, but my floor is gross and my arms are weak. So you're putting your knee up on this chair and I'm stretching my quads when I stretch forward, but when I stretch backward, my quad still does stretch a little, but most of that alleviates in my back. And then, of course, you want to do both sides and switch legs and do both sides of this leg. So make sure to do both sides and both sides of your feet on both feet. And I'm putting my back stretched upper back into it again, like there. And I cracked my back again. Oh, it felt so nice. So I guess I voiced over this entire video, but I'm loosening my back out again right here, stretching it all out, and then I'm going to do these weird goddess sits that I didn't even know existed. I kind of do like my own variation of them, but this is also a yoga pose from a photo sharing website. So for this goddess stretch, you're going to stretch with the same knee and same shoulder to the same side and drop your opposite shoulder in between your legs and stretch into your thigh and your back. Thank you guys. I don't have that much room, or as I say, all of the range of motion. But I appreciate you guys for asking me to make this video, and
Good night.
see you.